What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel. Teen mom to baby daddy Chris Lopez is upset with Kale, and this time he is leaking receipts because in the prior video that I made about him and his complaints about his baby mama, he was saying that Kale is the most miserable person on the planet. She's keeping the kids from him. She needs to stay off her back, etc., as if he didn't have her on her back for two of those kids. Whoop. Well, he was saying that she and he had a parenting agreement where he was supposed to spend time with the kids over Thanksgiving. But Kale has not handed those children over, therefore being in violation of their parenting agreement. I said, go ahead and take it to court then, Chris, instead of social media, if that is the case, or provide some receipts, because so far, how are we supposed to believe this? I don't know. Like, is it not a very serious thing for somebody to violate an order, blah, blah, like, show us some receipts so that we can, like, believe you. And guess what? Christopher decided to post some of those receipts online. As usual, he posted and deleted very quickly on his Instagram page. I wasn't able to catch it, but my fave, Teen Mom Chatter, has a screenshot, two screenshots that she uploaded from Kitty Jakers. And not only that, so shout out to both of them. And then Chris Lopez actually chimed in the comment section with some more information as well. So let's go. Let's get to the mess, shall we? So as you can see, this is an email exchange between Kale and Chris, actually. And so they go over what holidays they have. Kale actually wanted him to do her a favor, or a solid, as the kids say, and switch some dates. So this is what she says. Hey, Chris. I received your text about Halloween and wanted to send an email so we can figure out all of the upcoming holidays. Number one, I was planning to take Lex and Creed out for Halloween. However, I'm willing to give them to you as long as you make sure they're both at school on time the following day. Does that work? Number two, as for Thanksgiving, I know it falls on your time. There you go, you guys. Kaylin Lowry tells Chris Lopez Thanksgiving falls on his time. I would like to have Lex and Creed. As you know, Thanksgiving is the only holiday that I consistently celebrate. If that works for you, I am willing to give you Christmas week. Let me know if that works. So she says Thanksgiving, but then Christmas week. Does Thanksgiving week work like Christmas week, where it's typically like that sort of a thing for people? Because, I actually went out for drinks with my coworker, and she was with her daughter. And the daughter is with her here in Europe for Thanksgiving break. So I'm like, oh, I guess it's like a thing that y'all have for like a week. Because I think in Canada, it's typically just a long weekend. There's been years since, I've dealt with all that type of stuff. So I don't know. So let me know in the comment section. Was it like a week thing? So Chris responded to Kale, as you can see in the following image here. And he's very dry. He says, I see Lex and Creed regardless on Christmas Eve. That's in the order. Plus, Christmas week is your week, so you wouldn't have to give me them. You could just keep everything normal. So basically, it seems like he doesn't trust Kale. Listen, Kale has done a little switcheroo on them before. She has also, I remember there was a vacation that she wanted for Isaac to go on or something like that, and it fell on a time where he was supposed to be with Joe, and then she said she would go to jail if it meant Isaac can go on this vacation. I remember she had how she's in this MLM, pyramid scheme company or whatever, selling scents or whatever. There was a time where she had won a cruise, and then she wanted to take the kids, but it fell on Father's Day weekend. And obviously the father, I don't know which one this was. There's so many to choose between. It could have been Joe. It could have been Javi. I don't know. The father wanted to spend time with the kids and the family. I think it's Joe. They were having Father's Day barbecue with all the dads in the family. It's a huge deal for them. And she just couldn't understand why that was a big deal and why the kid couldn't come on the holiday. So I can understand why Chris is like, actually, you might say that you would do X, Y, or Z, but you're already willing to break actual agreements and whatnot. So, if you just say your word or whatever, I can't exactly trust that. So I do understand where he's coming from. And he already had Christmas Eve in the order. So he was fine with that. He didn't need a full week of Christmas celebrations in exchange for giving up full-blown Thanksgiving, So to which Kaylin Lowry responds, Chris, no worries. We can keep it exactly as it's stated in the order, and you don't need to ask about Halloween since it falls on my week. Have a great night. So there you go. That's her getting back at him. And it's so funny how she goes from, in the first email, let me pull it up. She goes from trying to be all nice to butter him up, adding the nice little pleasantry. Hey, Chris. Hey, being the key word there. And then when Chris doesn't give her what she wants, what does she say? Chris. That's how she starts the second email. So I find that to be rather funny. And also in the first one, she signs it off. Thanks, Kill Lowry. The second one, no sign off. Oh, Lord have mercy. Baby mama, daddy drama is wild. So, in a screenshot about this email exchange, she says, she got mad because I didn't want to switch holidays and you didn't take the kids out for Halloween because you gave birth to the twins and your nanny had to take them out. So this is so funny to me because Kale talks about pettiness all the time on her podcast, especially the Coffee Convos podcast, because her co-host Lindsay's in a co-parenting situation as well. And so they talk about how sometimes they want to be petty, but they won't be petty because it's not in the best interest of the children and whatnot. So it's just so funny that she says things like that. And then now you're hearing that she took away the children's opportunity to celebrate Halloween with their father. And instead they were celebrating it with a nanny because she was mad that the father would not switch out his Thanksgiving week for her. And so not only does she have these kids Halloween trick-or-treating with the nanny, she didn't give them to him in time to start off Thanksgiving week either. So that's two punishments, not only for Chris, but for the children as well, which I find to be rather petty. And don't forget, Kale still has her followers thinking that she's still pregnant. She's like asking people for name suggestions and talking about, posting photos of herself, with a belly, with a bump and everything like that. Like the whole thing is just so strange to me outside of even just like this dispute that they're having. But I digress. Anyway, Chris did hop into Teen Mom Chatter's comment section to shed a little bit more light on the situation. And so this is what he had to say. All right, guys. I sound terrible when I try to copy slang, word for word. So there will be some times where I kind of paraphrase it, because it just sounds so bad. Sometimes I watch back my thing, like when y'all are going, no, I don't, when are you guys going to understand? She's only hurting the kids. I reached out about Halloween for my kids because he wasn't sure if he was going trick-or-treating due to his mom being unsure due to the pregnancy. I didn't post that part of our conversation. Furthermore, I celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Why do I have to compromise my time because she doesn't celebrate certain holidays? But to spite me and not let me have the kids for Halloween while you're in the hospital due to give birth is corny, regardless of if it falls on your time or not. And to keep the kids just because you're mad I didn't want to switch Thanksgiving is also corny. What's wrong with the dad spending extra time with his kids? If you're willing to give me a full week for Christmas, then why is it an issue for me to spend a full week during Thanksgiving and you keep your normal schedule for Christmas? Again, a lot of you guys like to overlook the principle of it all to create the negative, bitter, jealous, and mad narrative. And nobody want to resort to involving police. It shouldn't even have to come to that. A lot of you guys are proving this isn't even about the kids, honestly. So alas, there it is. Listen, I think he's right when it comes to the whole not letting the kids celebrate trick or treat with their father just to spite the father. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that Kale made a good decision there. But listen, pregnancy hormones, I guess. And then already Kale's raging hormones in general, because she's always been this type of a person, are not a good mix. What was I going to say? It just sucks. And it's just sad. I could see that why she was mad about the Thanksgiving thing, but it's like, just because you only celebrate this one holiday doesn't mean that all the other baby daddies have to sacrifice whatever holidays that they celebrate, which is all of them, for you to accommodate you because you decided to, become the neighborhood breeder. It just doesn't work that way at the end of the day. So I do think that she was completely wrong there. But Chris is also being a little bit dishonest when he claims that everybody is the problem, making up all these narratives about him being mad, bitter, this, that. Well, when you go online constantly talking about this woman, right? And you're saying things like, oh, stay off your back. Meanwhile, you had, you and her share 2 children together. What about you? Why don't you stay off your back, damn it? The hell? And just all sorts of stuff. it is why people say that. And 9 times out of 10, when this guy is on Instagram Live or TikTok Live, which is all the time, does he have a job? I don't know. He is bitching about Kale. So of course people think you're obsessed with her. But that's the thing. It's not exclusive to you, Chris. Kale gets the equal amount of criticism for bitching about you all the time. I do her podcast recaps for my channel members. And we're always talking about how in pretty much every single one of her 3 podcasts, she's talking about Chris constantly. Meanwhile, she's got, this new boyfriend and baby daddy. So it is weird that she too is constantly talking about you. You're not even the first, or second baby daddy of hers, yet she's so fixated on you, just like you're so fixated on her. You're both obsessed with each other. So alas, but good luck to them. I don't know if Kale handed the kids over yet, but it's kind of sounding like this is something that is going to come up for sure when they head into their court situation to figure out custody later on. Because remember, Kale wanted to go to mediation to discuss custody of the children, but Chris wanted to go straight to trial, straight to court. So we're certainly going to be hearing about how that winds up playing out on Kale's podcast, and of course on Chris's Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you name it. Guys, how do you feel about this? I feel like they're both messy, and I feel like they're both trifling at the end of the day. But, who suffers? The children, right? When they're playing these back and forth games with one another. It really is disappointing. I don't think it's fair what went down there. But alas, what's done is done. Let me know what you think, guys. Bye.